What's up, Lexi and Air here. I want to send a huge shout out to a Toronto-based podcast, 30 Minutes Live with CPD, every Wednesday and Friday night on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And who knows, maybe you'll see me as a guest on one day. Don't forget to tune in.
Hey guys, I'm back again, and this time I have my guest with me, with Lindi Jane. I made a mistake. Australia's time, I got the time difference wrong between Guelph and Australia, so I apologize. And my guest Lindi is here now, so I'm going to bring her on in 1 second, and I really appreciate her coming on tonight. So just give me 1 second, guys, and I'm going to just bring her on from Australia, and I'm looking forward to talking to her. So anyways, guys, like I said, give me 1 second, and I will have her on here and get her on here. And perfect. Just 1 second. 1 second. People do make mistakes, and sometimes we all do. So anyways, guys, I'm going to bring her on right now.
It's going to
Hello.
play in a minute. Hi. Okay.
Hello. How are you doing? Can you hear me and see me okay? I can see you, Lindi. I can see you guys. Can you hear me at all? Hey. Can you hear me or no? I can see you guys. Okay. Okay, 1 second. I'll just see if we can hear you guys. I can see you guys, no problem. Just bear with me and we'll see if we can get this figured out. Technical things. I know things happen. Just give me 1 second. Can you hear me at all, Lindi? Okay. Do you want to just try it again? Okay, I think she froze up, guys. So we're going to try this one more time, and we'll see. I'm just going to, she froze up here, so we're going to try one more time, guys. And we'll see if we can get her back on. Okay, yeah, she just got off, so bear with us, guys. We're going to try one more time to get Lindi on. Again, bearing in mind she is in Australia, so it is a long ways away. So hopefully we can get her to connect. If not, we'll have to reschedule. So thanks again, guys. It's 1:53 in the morning, so I'm hoping to get her back on. Things do happen technically, so just going to see if we can get this fixed and just make sure everything's up to date. My speakers are up and going. So we'll just see. Things do happen, guys. So I apologize. So we'll see technical difficulties. And like I said, this is the first guest I've had that's from across the world, literally in Australia. So we're just going to see if we can try one more time getting her on. And if not, we'll have to do a reschedule again in the future. So things do happen, and bear with me, guys. So like I said, we're going to try it one more time. I'm just going to send her a link and see if I can get her to rejoin. 1 sec, guys. Okay, I'm just going to send it right here on Facebook. Try one more time. Yeah, I just emailed Lindi now, so we're going to try one more time to see if we can get her back on. And just going to make sure you have your mic turned on. No problem. So anyways, like I said, guys, technical difficulties do happen. And like I said, she is across the world. So we're going to just see, we're going to try one more time. And if not, we'll have to reschedule another time. So anyways, guys, like I said, thank you so much for your patience tonight. and I was really looking forward to speaking to Lindy about her career. Yeah, just gotta bear with it, and we'll see if we can get Lindy to come on again. I could see her no problem. I just don't think she could hear me, and that's so. And my microphone is on. I just checked it, so things do happen. So, anyways, guys, like I said, I'm not sure. She's gonna try one more time, guys. She's just gonna check her mic again, and we'll see if we can get it going. Because, like I said, I know it is very late. It's in the afternoon in the afternoon right now in Australia, and it is late here. So I'm just gonna try to send her one more link, and we'll see if this works. And if not, like I said, guys, we'll have to reschedule. So we'll just cross our fingers. So the first mistake was on my part. I got the timing wrong, and then right now it's just a technical difficulty. It appears on her end as well. So, like I said, guys, I was hoping to get this in tonight, but we might have to reschedule. So, bear with us. So, anyways, guys, like I said, you can check her out on the YouTube channel, Lindi Jane on YouTube as well. So, okay, let's cross our fingers this worked this time, okay? I'm going to try to bring Lindy back on, and we'll see if this works. Okay. Hey, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
That's
Did
cool.
it work?
Oh, you know,
Yeah, it is cool.
I can hear you totally. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being patient.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said,
Technology.
Anyways, I apologize because I think I got the time difference mixed up earlier, so that was on my mistake. So, mistakes happen. So, thank you for still coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
Don't worry. That is totally fine, Chris. It's been ages. Yeah, we were meant to catch up quite a few months ago. So thank you for being patient too.
Yes, like I said, sometimes things happen and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I guess it's now 4:00. So I guess it's 4:00 right now. Your time, almost 4:00. Yeah, because right now it's 1:58 here.
Almost. Yeah.
1:50. Yeah, so almost 4:00 your time.
Just about.
Yeah. Yeah, because of the time difference. So, anyways, yeah, like I said, I appreciate you coming on tonight.
It's
and you're my.
We have about 3:30. Yeah, it's got half an hour to go, but that's close to 4:00. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't keep you too long, like I said. But like I said, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. And it's good to talk to you. Like I said, this technology is amazing because I'm about 10,000 miles away from you, and now I can talk to you like this live.
It's amazing. It is good when it works.
Yes, sometimes there are technical difficulties with this as well. So, but like I said, I'll get to some questions and stuff like that if that's okay. Okay, the first question I'm going to ask you is
perfectly fine. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself, and when did you decide you wanted to pursue a career as a ventriloquist puppeteer?
Did you really want to do that? No. I wanted to be a famous singer when I was about 4 years old, but I guess the best thing and the weirdest thing happened is I got to meet puppets through my grandpa and my mum, who bought me a puppet when I was in hospital, and I was born with a congenital heart defect, and it had quite a few problems back then, and I spent about 7 years in hospital. So my mum and my grandpa, on and off, I was in hospital. My mum and grandpa gave me a puppet, and I could talk to it, and I could have fun with it and sing. And then I used to go around the wards singing little songs to all the beautiful older people that had pacemakers, and they were all in the other wards, and I just started entertaining from the age of 4, and that's pretty much how the ventriloquism started. And then I got addicted. Yeah, I got addicted to puppets and the art form, and just escalated from there, and then traveled the world, and I've had a ball.
Have you ever been to Canada yet? Have you performed in Canada yet? I think there's a delay here. I was just asking you, have you ever performed outside of, like, hey, I know you've been in Australia and Asia. Have you ever performed in North America, like in the States or Canada yet? Okay, I think you froze up, Lindy. Yeah, I was hoping we could get through this podcast, but I think you froze up. I'm not sure if it's on my end or on your end, but like I said, I don't know if you want to try it again, or it's up to you, Lindy, if you can still hear me. I could see you and I could hear you, but unfortunately you froze up. So I don't know if you want to try to log off one more time and try on again, or if you want to just reschedule another time. Uh, so yeah, unfortunately, like I said, guys, Lindy froze up again. So we're gonna maybe try one more time. If not, we'll have to maybe reschedule. Like I said, guys, things happen with technology. And again, she is in Australia, which is halfway across the world. They do have Wi-Fi and they have internet there, but sometimes things do happen with Wi-Fi and internet signals. So I'm just gonna see if I can bear with a couple more minutes. If not, we will definitely reschedule. So because I've been friends with Lindy on Facebook for a while now, and now that I've started this podcast, okay, we're gonna try bringing her back on. We're gonna see if it works. Let's see. Hey, Lindy, are you there?
Working
You're there.
again.
Yeah, it happens.
I am here. Snap's gone to try and fix it. He's trying to fix it. So Snap's just gone off to see if he can fix the router.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. So, like you said, things happen with technology. It's great at times, but sometimes things happen. So I'm just hoping I can just get through some questions with you in that as well.
Go for it. While Snap's out, I can answer them.
Okay, no problem. Oh, I like the color blue that you have on too. That suits you. Blue's a nice color.
Thank you.
So, okay.
It is a lovely color, very peaceful and positive.
Yes, and like I said, we've been friends on Facebook for a number of years now, so it's kind of nice to actually talk to you live and that. So, I appreciate you coming on tonight.
No dramas. Well, ask the questions before Mr. Internet gets in the way.
Okay, no problem. The next one I was going to ask you, where did you go to school in Australia, and did you have a mentor when you were first starting out in the industry?
I did have a mentor, beautiful Gordon Ross, who lives in South Australia, where I am now. I used to be in Victoria, and I traveled the world from Victoria and South Australia, but I came back here, reconnected with all the lovely people that helped start my career, what they were doing. And there was a gentleman called Chris Kirby. He lived only about 2 blocks away from me. I went to a high school around about Salisbury North Way, so I'm a Northie, as they say, and I grew up there, and I would have done shows nearly every Vierstunde, which was our little talent quest that we had way before America's Got Talent and Australia's Got Talent and The Voice. This was definitely something that was pretty famous around Salisbury area in South Australia, and I had lots of people come and see me doing these shows, and they were people that have already been, or at the time, had already been established as a ventriloquist. So I was very honoured to meet people like Chris Kirby. I had Darren Carr. He's more New South Wales, but I ran into him a few times. I had a couple of other ventriloquists like Ron Blaskett. He was in Victoria, and he was very mature. Well, I was only a little girl, and and they always seemed so much older than me back then. That he passed away 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and I went to his wake. And it was such an honour, though, that I was adding up how many years he'd been in my life. And those people were people that influenced me. But I grew up with television. I would have seen Shari Lewis when I was very young. And I didn't realise that I was doing the ventriloquism at that time. I just thought I was playing with puppets and I was able to keep my mouth shut and make them look real. But when I saw Shari Lewis, I went, oh gosh, I would have been about 3, something like that, 3 years old. And I said to my mum, that's what I'm doing, and 4 years old, I was playing with puppets. So by the time I was 8, I was working pretty much full time. So the mentoring came from those people, Shari Lewis, Chris Kirby, Gordon Ross, and Ron Blaskett. And then from there, I just saw what they were doing, and I didn't mimic them. I tried to be as original as I could be, doing all shows in the backyard, charging 20 cents per show. And I would have been probably about 8 by the time I realised that's what I wanted to do. And those people did influence me greatly.
I was gonna say for many years it was kind of a male industry, but now there's more female ventriloquists here in North America. And my first guest on my podcast about 9 months ago was actually a female ventriloquist. Her name is Christine Barger, and she was the first one that believed in me and came on my podcast. So you're my second podcast, my second ventriloquist, but she's a really nice person, and I'm really glad to have you on too. And I just started this a year ago because I've decided I want to switch careers, and I like talking to people, interviewing people, asking questions, and I want to get into radio, and this is my platform, and I'm hoping somebody out there will eventually notice my work on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and all these other Apple podcasts and Google podcasts as well.
Well, I could ask you a question then, Chris. Why are you so fascinated with ventriloquists? Because I've noticed that you are.
Well, just something I've always liked, and I like comedy too. I like humor. And like I said, the world needs more laughs and stuff like that. So, and no, I'm lucky. And my podcast originally was a sports podcast. I love sports, but now I'm kind of branching out to comedians and other people like yourself and Christine, just to learn about other things. And I like to ask questions, and I like to learn, and I like to branch out a little bit. It's still sports, but I still like to branch out a little more too. And I like to meet new people too. And it's just amazing. Like I said, I can talk to you from 10,000 miles away.
I know. That's pretty cool. Well, they could probably do a sports event for ventriloquists. We could have like a mouth marathon, not moving, or something of that nature. Sports is something I love. I was very good at playing volleyball, so I guess you're sort of got something in common there, not just the puppetry, but yeah, I love sports. So I've heard some of your podcasts. They're absolutely brilliant. Like you're very talented in the sports department. I do dig it myself.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, I still like to learn. I try to read up on stuff, and I don't act like one of these know-it-alls. I'm not like that. I like to learn stuff and read stuff and stuff like that. So definitely.
That's beautiful. Okay. Well, I can see that. So did you want to ask Snap any questions? Sorry.
Was he your first puppet? Like, who was your first puppet that you created? I was going to ask you that later, but how many puppets do you have right now? And who was the first one you created?
Snap is looking after the internet. If you've noticed, since Snap has gone, the internet's working. So he must be working on something good to keep it going, whatever he's doing.
Yes. We cross our fingers. So
my
yeah.
first yeah, or cross his tail. I don't know, but he'll come back soon. But I'll let you know that my first puppet was Charlie, and I'm actually tomorrow night on a South Australian program called Our Time with Malcolm Haslett. And that will be on our community station, which is Channel 44, which my children's show's on too, but we'll talk about that in a second. And he started my career when I was 9 on television, when I was 9 years old. So he asked me to bring my first puppet ever, and he thought maybe I don't have it anymore, but I've actually put him away. I didn't bring him out today, but there is photos on my Facebook, on Lindi Jane's Facebook, that you could probably see Charlie in a couple of shoots that we've just done recently. But Charlie Parlichin, we used to have a store here called John Martin's, which is hilarious because a lot of people say, but it's Maya. It's like, no, Maya and John Martin's was a totally different department store. It wasn't like Walmart and it wasn't like Tesco's or anything like that. It was just a fun place where you could go and have get your toys for your birthday, get your favorite tops, things like that, when you were growing up. And so it was a very big John Martin's Christmas pageants we had and everything. So I saw somebody with a Charlie Parlichin doll. They were made in Germany, and there's thousands of them around the world, but only a few have survived because they're quite brittle when they get older. And Charlie, I named after, that was another one that did influence me. God bless me. I didn't even think of him right now. Bless him. Edgar Bergen and Candice Bergen, because she always fascinated me that she had a dad that was a puppeteer. So I saw Edgar Bergen, and I've also done lots of shows on radio as well. And that's, I was even looking into a ventriloquist show on podcasts, and still working on that. It's work in progress, but I've been very busy with the TV world. And I just said to him, I'm going to call this puppet, when I got him on my 8th birthday. My family friend gave me the puppet. My mum was sort of like, does she really need a ventriloquist doll? Yes, she does talk like that. And my mum's family friend just said, yes, look, she needs a puppet because she'd be great as a ventriloquist. That's where it all started with Charlie Parlichin. He was my first puppet, named after Charlie McCarthy. But I called him Charlie Parlichin because he was called Mr. Parlichin. And that apparently in Germany, I heard thousands of years ago, because Charlie's quite mature now, the doll itself, the figure. I heard that the factory in Germany burnt down many years ago, which is so sad. So there are collector's items. Sometimes I see people with them selling them on Marketplace or something, and it's like, wow. And I've still got mine. And I think when I went on Our Time, Malcolm thought that I would have got rid of him, and it was like, no, when you're a ventriloquist, it's weird. I know. And it's a bit strange, but that's a good thing. That's why we do. It's very quirky what we do. They become fed. I've got at least 19 puppets, so almost 20 puppets. I've got one that I'm looking at the moment, or they're looking at me online. The puppet sometimes finds you a bit like a pet. and I will be looking for this particular one. So I hope to have 20 by the end of this year, 20 puppets. So that's pretty much how many that are workable in my show.
I think you should have 21. I think you need to have a Canadian puppet.
I do. Now, you did say this. Now, he has to be height challenged. Is that right?
Yep. I'm sometimes funny. I do talk a lot.
Doesn't he have to be called Chris?
Yeah, definitely. I do have a big mouth. I do have a big mouth.
All right.
So
well, I have to work on
it. He has to wear a hat too. He has to have a hat.
You'd be suitable.
I need a haircut. Okay. I haven't had a haircut.
All right, let me work on it. Then I might You haven't had a haircut?
No, I haven't had one in 3 months because we've been locked down here again in Canada. So we're just getting out of the lockdown now. So I'm hoping to get a haircut right after my birthday. My birthday is on Tuesday. I'll be turning the big 49.
Ooh.
I know.
You're still young. You're still young.
Just still young.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Time goes quick. The older you go, the time
That's
goes
still
quick. So, well, thank you. And like I said,
It's the
one
new,
of the
the new 30s. That's what I was going to say. They're the new 30s.
yeah, that's true. I've got a lot of people that don't think I look like I'm 49. So, I guess I still act young, so I feel young. So, yeah, no
Do you want me to
problem.
get snapped back again? Hang on, I'll just see. Did you fix it? Yeah. Good. Hang on. Come on. Hurry up. Oh, goodness me. I've got it fixed. It works, Chris. I'm so pleased.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks. No problem.
Snap. Well, nice to meet you.
G'day, Chris. Yeah, I've met you. You've been on Facebook. Yeah. We've seen him on Facebook plenty of times.
Definitely, you'll have to have a fellow Canadian puppet to join you one day.
Hey? He wants us to make a puppet like Chris. As short as me? Yeah, definitely. So we'll just have to add to the whole crew.
Yeah.
Oh, there's room, Chris. There's a light for everyone. So we'll make sure every puppet, we'll make sure you're there. We'll work on it.
With the hat. With the hat, too. Yeah.
With
I was
the
going to
hat.
say, my next
He must
question.
have a hat. I can't wear a hat. No, he can't wear a hat. It just falls off. I've got a weird-looking cranium. No, it's just a crocodile.
So do I. So do I.
So what's your question? Go, Chris.
Okay, my next question.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have a favorite? I guess you already answered it with Sherry Lewis, I guess. Did you have a favorite ventriloquist comedian? I guess Sherry Lewis, but did you have any other ones that you particularly liked?
Well, I have Dave. Yeah, I know. I'm going to say it. Yeah, him. Yeah, I'm going to tell him. David Strassman, who's very good. You probably know of him. He's been a mate of mine for quite a few years. And we've got sort of a love-hate, a love-hate relationship. It's actually a bit of a joke, but we just do it for fun. And he's been a big influence in, I guess my art form, but also as a friendship, a fellow ventriloquist. I've got a young man that I've been working with quite often. Young, he is a young man that I've been working with recently called Chris Alkington. And we've got some plans for some future shows. And he's also appearing on my SKC TV kids show. So the other people that would have influenced me over the years would be definitely Ron Lucas. I watched him in an episode of LA Law, and he was very serious. He was. And then we saw quite a few different movies. Anthony Hopkins did Magic, which was pretty scary, but brilliantly done. I didn't realize he wasn't doing ventriloquism until I was a bit older. And I do love Jeff Dunham. Yeah, we saw him live. I do love him, and I think he knows that. I got to meet him, and I was incredibly starbound at the time, which is embarrassing. Yeah, it was. Because I didn't want to, I basically am a fellow performer like that. I didn't want to be all shook up that I met him. But we got to meet him at one of his last tours or recent tours, probably about 15 or 16 or 14, 2014, something like that. And I got a photo with him, and I was like, I just wasn't even sure. But I admire him because he had a lot of knocks when he was growing up. A lot of things like, what you're doing is silly. Men shouldn't really play with dolls. He had all of that. So he really worked himself through it. So, and I do love Cookie Jensen, Lee as well. She's brilliant too. There's quite a few out there. I'm sorry if I've forgotten some names, but I guess thinking of them off the top of my head. But when I see them, I'll go, yeah, that's great. You got to meet Nina Conti. Oh, yeah, Nina Conti we got to meet. And that was just one of those brief moments where you just happened to be there and she was there. So I said hello. And I've seen some of her shows. She's in another comedic platform compared to some of us other comedians that are more mainstream ventriloquism, which suits, adults, but suits family. Not as much strict adult comedy. But we basically work alongside more children. But I do adult comedy as well. But it's not too rude. No, it's not. She won't let me. No, it's not very rude at all. No, I'm actually a little bit nice. Yeah, sometimes he is. He can be very cheeky and we can have innuendos, but we're not as rude as some ventriloquists like to be. So those people, it's been good to have the diversity of what some people do. And I really love singing, so incorporating all of that.
Okay. I should put you in touch with my friend Christine Barger. She's from LA, California. She's a female ventriloquist. I'll text you her name and that, and maybe you can befriend her because she's really funny and she's really good at ventriloquism. And she's even on Cameo. You should look at maybe going on Cameo as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few different ones that have been inviting. I've really been stuck in a studio editing a kids show for the last since April this year, and it's almost completed. So once that's done, then I can actually go out and do more things and join a few more teams and get the female ventriloquism out there. But at the moment, we've just been concentrating on getting SKCTV out there on the airwaves, which it is now. Yep, episode 1, it's already there. It is. So we are very fortunate in being able to do that, but that really has, it's been interesting with lockdowns and things like that. I haven't actually noticed them too much because I've been so busy, and we're inside all the time anyway, at editing suites and things like that. So, yeah, thank you for that invite. There's a lot that I need to connect with. Yeah.
I was going to say, what is an average day like for you then with doing all your work, like you're editing with your kids' TV show, your puppet work and all? What's like an average day like for you?
An average day, well, at the moment, it's just getting it delivered and making sure that it's done. I had to hand over some of the edit to another team only because it was getting a little bit too much for me because I also need to earn an income. I'm self-funding at the moment, so we weren't able to get any funding or sponsorships. So because I'm self-funding, I'll take every gig and every job that I can. So I have to sort of hand it over to a team, but I've got to sit with them. There's also marketing. We're now designing a new website and new everything, really, social media. So as you've advertised, I've only got Lindi Jane 3, which is our YouTube, and then eventually it'll be SKCTV. We'll have that separate and we'll be able to stream some of the shows. There's Lindi Jane, which is my Facebook, and Snaps Kakadu Club, which is Snappy Productions, home of SKCTV. I had an Instagram account, but it got deleted, and I don't know how that happened. About 2 days ago, I had no internet, and then all of a sudden disappeared. So there's a lot that we do. It's preparing with music as well. I sing music as well, so I've been in solid rehearsal with music to get that back out there too. So an average day can vary, but if the phone's ringing, that's all that matters because it means it's work.
So sleep can sometimes be a challenge in your profession. It's not your regular 8 to 4, 9 to 5 job, basically.
It's definitely not. Look, I could be in the middle of something and I get a great phone call that it's for a lovely interview like yourself, or it's something else that I need to do. My sleep is a bit like your patterns, Chris. So I would probably just sleep. I'm getting 6 hours a night on average. I sleep. Yeah, because you're in the case. Exactly. I can't hear a thing in there. No, it's a good place for him. But I'd say that, yeah, look, I'm always busy. I've always been a busy person and I always will be. And I'd like to perform and work in my Snappy Productions until I'm 80, if I can.
Well, actually, Lindy, just to let you know, a couple weeks ago, I had a comedian from LA on here. His name is Marty Ross. He's 82 years old. He's a comedian, and he didn't get into comedy business,
Yeah,
like entertainment
yeah,
business like you,
I
until
know
he was
Marty Ross.
66. Yeah, his name's Marty Ross, and he's 82 years old, and he was on America or what is it called? America Has Talent, and he started
Yeah,
his career at 66.
yeah.
So you know what? You're right. Age is just a
Isn't it
number.
beautiful? It's totally. I think the best thing is today they really don't judge people on their age anymore. I think it is just talent, life experiences, what they
Mhm.
give to people. Because
Yep.
I love giving. I give as much as I can. But yeah, it's beautiful. Age is just a number. And like I said to you, you're in your new 30s.
That's true. That's true.
So then you'll
And the
be
thing,
40.
That's true. That's true. And you also want to have a passion too. And I have a passion for doing these podcasts and talking to people like yourself and guys in sports and other industries and stuff like that. And like I said, you're never too late to switch careers. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. It might take a little time, but you know what? I just have to keep working at it and keep getting better at it. And I guess the more times you do something like performing like yourself or doing this podcast, you get more confident and you're more and I've been lucky because the last 6 months I've had guests come on pretty well every week, 2 to 3 guests. So it just you got to work
Yeah,
hard and you just have to keep focusing on improving.
it's true. And it also shows that people are keen. I mean, we do entertainment because we want to be seen. I mean, we're showing off and we want to be loved. So it's good that people are invited by you to come on because it keeps us going, especially with all the current times that we're living in. And the
Oh
change
yeah.
of career, I reckon I should change a career. And what would you be, Snap? A doctor. A doctor. A doctor of philosophy. Doctor
Oh,
of philosophy.
okay.
That's pretty deep. I don't think so. I'd rather just be a podcaster like you, Chris. I
Yes, I
wonder
think
if
you
you
should.
could do croc radio.
Yes. Yes,
I
why
think
not?
I like it here, Chris. I think
Definitely.
he's not. You thought about a change of a career many years ago, yeah. But I think I'd rather be the puppet. It's a good life, easy
Yeah.
going, except
Yeah.
where our hand is. Oh, what's that?
And you get a nice partner too. Be nice to Lindy. Be nice to Lindy. I think you're still there. Good. I was keeping my fingers crossed. So I think we're doing okay. I think we're doing okay
He
so
doesn't.
far.
Thank you. That's good. I'm
No
making
problem.
sure I'm pedaling faster. So we
Oh, you froze up, Lindy. Ooh, okay.
keep the
Uh,
internet going.
oh, okay. Yeah, you're
I can
back. You're
always
back.
go to the router again. You can always go to the router. Yeah.
No, you're okay now. I can hear you. Yeah, we'll just keep our fingers crossed. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. I was going to ask you the next
Thank
question.
you.
Do you remember your first actual ventriloquist show? And I guess you already answered the other part of my question. Who your first puppet was, which was Charlie. So, do you remember your first show then?
Charlie.
Basically.
Do you remember it? No. Yes, I do. My first show was at school, and it was in. There were a couple at the churches, but my biggest one would have been at school, and I probably had 500 people at it, which is pretty big. So we used to put on shows in the well. We called it the well, and we put a show on there, and I think that was my biggest. But then I went on to television, and we know that TV, lots of people watch that. So that would have been my biggest audience. And I knew through that little camera at the age of 9 years old that there was thousands of people out there. And I was a little bit nervous, but I still did a good job. I do believe looking back now. And yeah, nine years old, I was doing shows then. That was pretty big for my first shows. And if you wanted to know my most, I guess, special show was a Royal Command performance when I was 17. That was pretty cool. I wasn't there. No, it wasn't. It was Charlie. Oh, Hin. My puppets get a bit jealous of each other.
Understandable.
It's okay. He's good. I'm going to leave. Because you're upset? Yeah, because you're talking about in. Well, I did before where you were fixing the internet. But look, we love you. You're in SKC TV now, so you're a big star at the show. And I also traveled Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and I've done Malaysia, Thailand, been to England, done shows all around there, and that was pretty flash.
I think one day you're going to have to come to Canada, perform in the Great White North, Canada.
Yes. Oh, it'd be beautiful. Do you know when the world opens back up and Mother Nature has started to relax a little bit, we should be able to come over.
Yeah, hopefully, like I said, we're slowly reopening here. The States is completely reopened, but our government is going to be a little slower because we don't want to have any more lockdowns. They just want to be smart about stuff like that. So
it's true. You might as well do it. I mean, who'd have thunk that in our lifetime we would have a pandemic? And it's something that we weren't sure if it was real, but with these changes, you can see that it has made such a big impact on the whole universe. But I've also seen a lot of good come out of it as well. Yeah.
I think we'll appreciate things more. Yeah, because I think now we're going to appreciate things more than we did before, because a lot of things were taken away from us the last 14 or 15 months. How are things in Australia right now with the COVID? Like, has everybody been vaccinated twice? And are you guys still wearing masks and all that?
He's saying he hasn't been vaccinated. No, I'm okay. All right. So he'll probably be all right. Just stay away from everybody in the case. Oh, will actually. Now Sydney's locked up. Sydney, unfortunately, they just got, we call it locked up, not locked down. Sydney's actually just had to close their curtains for the moment. And Melbourne's looking okay. I think they lifted their restrictions. South Australia, where I am, which is just so grateful, their Premier here, Stephen Marshall, he doesn't suffer fools gladly at all. And he's quite the, straight away he makes a decision, and so does the health minister. And I just think that the way they've managed it here has been pretty tough on people, but it's actually been a good thing. So South Australia is quite clear. We had a few people coming in from Sydney and a few people from Melbourne that had the lovely Mr. COVID. But I think it's doing okay, but I am worried about Sydney. And they've just had a little bit of a lockdown, I heard this morning on the radio. To be honest, I can honestly tell you that it'd be harder for you guys because you'd hear it every day. And my friends in the States, they would hear that every day, and in the UK. But I basically started turning off, and I just listen every now and then. If anything, at the moment, I'm more upset. I was crying my eyes out with Miami, with that big apartment building, the Champagne or something collapsing. That, to me, I know it sounds rude, it devastated me more than the people passing with COVID at this stage in my life. And I was watching it, and we were crying, and it was just awful. And that kind of thing is unexplained. And you know, that's something that we do every day. We get up, we go to bed, we live in something that we want secure, which is our home. And that's also why people now are buying heaps and heaps of property, because they know it's not safe to travel around right now, and we can't really use our money on spending overseas. So we're buying our own houses to be safe and secure. And those people were doing exactly that. They were living in their beautiful apartments, having a nice time, and then this happened. And I'm my heart goes out to everyone there, please. And mine too. Yeah. And my pets, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what caused it. They were saying there were sinkholes around the apartment. It's the condo apartment was about 40 years old, and I guess the last couple of years it had been sinking due to the water. So I think it's just gonna have to wait until they finish their investigations. But I think unfortunately, it's just how many people died, and then pets. I imagine there was people's cats and dogs and pets that died in that too. So it's just awful.
Exactly. The cry of the pet. Oh, devastated. Yeah. Even Snap had a bit of a crocodile tear, but it was real. But we were watching it, and that's the first thing I thought about. You know, the pet birds, the pet cats, the pet rats, the pet dogs, all of those things, because it was at the middle of the night or so. It was at nighttime when they all went to bed, and I was just I was completely devastated. Anything like that, it's just that horrible feeling of having your security, your beautiful home, the place you call your planet, to be just taken away from you like that and take you with it. It's just horrible. Horrible.
Definitely, yeah. It's just unfortunately a lot of the news nowadays on television is I would say 90% bad news, and it's just I'm just gonna wait and see what happens with their investigation yet. So, but that's just awful what happened. So,
well, our prayers are with them and their families and everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And the one thing about social media now, it really does shrink the world down. So now you guys hear more about news in the US and Canada, and it's just, you know what I mean? It just makes, so, but unfortunately, so I'd just be curious to see what comes of it in the next week or two. But there's a twin apartment building right beside it. And if I was those people, I'd be kind of worried as well, because it's the same age and right beside the other one. Yeah, definitely. So, okay. My next question for you, Lindy, is what is the hardest aspect of the business? Oh, sorry. Okay, I was just going to ask you just a couple more questions. The next one I was going to ask you is, what is the hardest aspect of the business that you're in, and what do you love about it the most?
The hardest thing.
If there is
I actually had to do. Lucky I have 1,000 stories, so thanks, Chris. These are all things that get stored. You know where the ABBA songs are kept? Up here. Yeah, I know that place. So you always store a story. Well, I've stored this one, and it's true. I did a cute report for a friend's child the other day for her school work, and it was about being a ventriloquist and the trials and tribulations of being a ventriloquist in Australia, but being a female, a lady. And I wrote in honesty that it's been pretty tough. I will be honest. It is a male domain, as you were saying, but it's also just the way in which, oh, please excuse me. I have to have a drink. It's, I think the major problem is getting people to believe in your product and yourself. And then you go to another venue, and that person, the promotional people or the producers that you were speaking to, have moved on. Then you have to tell your story again and promote that you are good. So the thing is that forever in my career, I've always had to prove that I can do what I do. It's not been a very easy journey, because no matter where I went, I had to just always say, well, this is what I do. And it's how you say it as well. You can't go in there and say, I'm really good. You've got to go in and show your goods every time and make sure that you do a good job. And it's been really hard, I'd say, in people believing that and keeping that consistency. And I'm not sure if it is just being a lady, or it is just, there's been a couple of other gentlemen I've spoken to about it saying it's been hard for them as well. But I find that when you've got a product, and I have a lovely product with SKC, so Snap's Kakadu Club, SKC TV, and I really believe in it. But of course, we have to see if it is marketable and whether it's going to have longevity. And that has been very hard because I have mixed and matched doing music and the Snaps Kakadu Club and doing the ventriloquist live shows. Puppet Talk is my adult show. And I'd say it's just really hard just trying to reinvent yourself, but also staying true and getting the products out there and people believing them and staying with you. But people just forget, you know, you're only 15 seconds of fame, and then they'll forget about you, and then they're incredibly cliquey and they'll move on to somebody else, but then come back to you. And it's all been like that. But aside of all that, which is frustrating, where you have to just keep marketing yourself and pushing, the good side of it is the joy that I give people and the joy that it gives me just performing for them and performing with this silly guy who's actually been very quiet right now. I'm listening. Thank you. It's okay. So, yes. And it's good. I can talk to myself for a living and get paid for it as well. But but I'd say that the most loveliest thing is that we do nursing home shows, like aged care shows. We do the kids parties as well. I've got a kids band as well as the puppets. I try to not just do a standard ventriloquist act where you're just standing there like stand up. I like to make it all a little bit, shake it up and make it different. The joy that I see on the beautifully aging is gorgeous. And the dancing to our music as well as playing with the puppets. And they don't get to play with you much. No, not me. I'm too delicate. Yeah. He's not delicate. A little bit. Yeah, well, put it this way. They don't always get to play with Snap, but they get to play with lots of other puppets. And just that joy is enough for me to live until I'm 100. And I really don't do this for the money. If I had have, I might have been very successful. I don't know. But I love what I do. I dig it. I was meant to do it. It was a gift. I was never taught. And I just want to give back as much as I can. And I said it recently on a little podcast with another group over in London. And living is giving, and giving is living. And I get most joy out of my life in seeing when I do a show, it doesn't matter about the paycheck. It matters how I made those people feel and what it did for me as well. It made me feel wonderful. So I hope that answered your question, Chris. Long-winded, but answered it.
Oh, that's my middle name, Long-Winded.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Sometimes I'm
your
funny.
name now, Chris.
Oh, you can just
That's
call me
beautiful.
CDP.
I know, CDP. Well, LJ's my nickname. I'm just Snap. Yeah, you're just Snap. Can I go to the case? Yes, you can. Snap wants to go and have a rest. I think all this running around. So you pop away and I'll get a few more questions from Chris. Okay,
Yeah,
see you, Chris. I've got to
See ya.
go. I've got things
Bye.
to do.
Nice to meet you.
I have no idea I don't know what he's going to do. See you, Nate. Keep to that. Excellent. Bye.
We'll see you, matey.
You're right there.
Bye.
He's a cheeky crocodile.
Nice one. Next question I was going to ask you, Lindy. Do you write your own songs for your shows?
Yes, I write everything. Everything you see. They come from a 3 a.m. wake up where I've got a notepad or I've got my high technology where I can type it into it right next to my bed. And I just write songs. It might take me 10 minutes. It might take me 3 days. Yes, I write all the scripts as well. But I do get some help every now and then if it's a particular subject. But the songs are all me, music, everything.
Wow. I don't have that musical talent. I did karaoke at a bar in New York City a couple years ago, and I emptied out the nightclub pretty quick. I had fun, but I have zero music. I have zero music talent. I'll have to one day send you I'll send you an email with my performance. I don't post it on social media because it was bad, but one day I'll have you have to listen to it. But I definitely have no future as a singer.
Well, I was thinking if you did have a band, you could call it Long-Winded.
That's true. That's true. Because when I talk a lot. Yeah. So yeah, I could do that too. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna go on with another question for you. How many puppets do you use for an average show? Do you pick one out and that's it, or do you take a couple with you, like 3 or 4 of them?
It's depending on, so I've had my own little agency as well. So I book the act and I learn about the product or about the client. And then they might want particular things said during the show. They've got certain people they want to pick on in a nice way in the show. So what I do is I think about the characters and I have a structured show that can be moved around. A lot of artists do it this way. It can actually be adjusted and and it can be made for each particular event. So if it's Bob's birthday party, he likes moccasins. So I would think of which character would be funny doing a joke about moccasins. And then I would look at other puppets that I usually use. So in an average adult comedy show, I would probably use 4 puppets or 5, depending on what I'm doing and how long it is. So if it's a 55-minute show, I might use 5 puppets. But it's depending on each client, what they actually need. When I work the kids show, it's a standard 4 or a standard 5 again. And that could be anywhere up to 45-minute show. So it's just depending, Chris, on what a client needs and what, their requirements are, what the particular event is, what they're celebrating. And then from there, I can help myself by knowing the scripts that I've already got, but I can add things and make it more personable. Hope that answers.
Like I said, no, you're telling me stuff I didn't know, and this is great because every time I have a guest on, I learn new stuff. So this is great stuff. I really appreciate you telling me, and I try to ask my guests intelligent questions. So try to ask good questions and stuff like that. Okay, my next question I'm going to ask you.
So far.
Thank you. My next question I want to ask you, Lindi, is how long does it take you normally to gauge an audience when you're performing live? Like just to get the feel of the audience, like what will work or what won't work?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, every audience, again, is different, just like every person, every puppet, every pet is different. You would have to do the comedy. Every comedian would tell you this. If you can't get a laugh in the first minute, second, millisecond, so your first 2 lines are the most important of your act, because then you can start seeing if those people are with you for the ride. So if you go out there and there's just, crickets in the background or a little fly up the back clapping, then you know that your material is not strong enough for the beginning punchlines. And I actually think even in that movie Punchline, I think that's what Tom Hanks was in, I think. It gives you an idea. Even Seinfeld gives you an idea. If you can't make that first sentence or even the first few minutes or 1 minute or millisecond, that you're there, that's how you can help start gauging an audience early. It's depending on, this is as a ventriloquist. The same applies with music. You have to read the audience. If you've already done a set for the show, and you would probably look at them and you would say, okay, they're probably looking like they're eating right now, so they don't need AC/DC or Metallica. That's inappropriate eating music. They would need something like a bit of Buble or, a bit of, Katie Lang, a bit of that coming into their meals before they start picking it up and going on. So in the ventriloquism comedy zone, you would check them out, and of course you would know the venue, you would know the people, what kind of demographic it is. You would probably do that homework before you get there. If it's an engagement party, of course, you've got all the information about the engaging people, the partners that are getting together. You would find a little bit of information on either one of them, and of course the people they want to pick on during the show. So you already know that people are there to be happy. They're there to celebrate an engagement. That's all positive things. You would also think up something funny and quirky about the people getting engaged, and you would probably drop that in the first sentence or in the first few lines of your act. And then you should be able to gauge the audience if they're actually with you, and you're going to then smooth sail. But some people build it a little bit slower than other comedians. There might be a roundabout, way of saying something, and then all of a sudden they blurt it out, and the audience is in raptures. And I've seen that happen, and they've shocked me. You didn't think they were going to be funny, and within about 1 minute, they're hilarious. So I guess, that comes back from all the Abbott Costello. You never knew what he was going to really say, and he didn't even have to say anything. It was just his look or their looks or, yeah. So Jim Carrey, he doesn't need to do anything. And Will Ferrell, I love him. They just walk on stage and look, and people laugh. So gauging an audience depends on your material, your homework, your study about the gig. And if the people if they know that you're coming, because there's some people that don't say a ventriloquist is on tonight. You actually just rock up and do the show. So they're not expecting it. And believe me, Chris, there's quite a few people that don't like ventriloquists.
Why is that? I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
I don't know. But seriously, there are some gigs I've had where they've come up and they've gone, "Why are you doing that ventriloquism?" It's like, because I was hired to do it. So it is. Look, it's a roller coaster ride, but you just go with it. Yeah, I know some people don't want a ventriloquist at the beginning of a show, I guess. I don't know. It's always been like that. There are some comedians that would have suffered the same feelings, where people didn't really appreciate someone coming in to tell gags. But there's a lot of clients that do share and advertise properly, even if they're weddings. Oh, we've got, a ventriloquist entertaining in the commercial break, or something, and people are prepared then.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's good stuff, like you're saying. Do your homework. It's like with the podcast too. I know it's not ventriloquism, but with the podcast, you need to know your audience, but you also need to know your guest and do your homework and try to learn about the guest and what questions you should ask and maybe what you shouldn't. And just, what I mean? Just, that's what you just said, man. That was perfect. Being prepared and doing your homework.
Yeah. That's why I coach as well. I've had a couple of students. Lovely Regan Owens was doing ventriloquism. I'm not sure if she's still doing much of it now. And I trained her, gave her some coaching, which was beautiful. There's been a couple of other young ventriloquists also I've had the pleasure, and I do coach them. But they don't just get the performance and how to do the ventriloquism and all of that. I also teach them invoicing and how do you engage a client? What do you do when you get to the venue? And we also talk about preparation. And preparation is everything. And it's something I drill into my students, that you got to rehearse. You've got to rehearse. There is no not rehearsing. You have to make that time, and rehearsal should be fun. And you have to learn about the next show coming. Who are they? What are they doing? What do they want? Why did they hire you? What is their particular angle, what it's all about. And that's what you have to do as a podcaster. It's what journalists have to do. It's what newsreaders, they don't just go up and read the story. They actually go through the teleprompt. They go through everything, and they listen constantly all day about what's happening before they go to air to read the news. And preparation is the only way that we can be better artists. And sometimes we do have a lot of luck where something we just tried on the night worked. But most of the time, preparation is the best plan.
Definitely. Definitely. Okay, my next question for you, Lindy, because I don't want to keep you too much longer, because I know it's probably 4:30 your time. It's
I'll
2:55
have to
a.m.
go
here.
soon.
So okay, yeah. So I just got like a couple
You
more
need
questions, and that's
sleep.
it. I will get it. I promise. I'll get about 10 hours of it, so don't worry. I'll be fine.
You can go in the case with Snap. You'll get plenty of sleep. It's really quiet in there.
What's the rent like? What's the rent like?
$5.50 a night.
That's not bad. I can afford that. Okay. My next question I was gonna ask. Yeah, I do try to make people laugh. Do you have any rituals before a live show to help you relax and stay calm? Like just something that you do that kind of just relaxes you or keeps you calm before a performance?
Oh, well, I make sure that they're always in the case before performance, exactly the same way they go in. So I bump in the same way I bump out every show. So backstage, I'll make sure they're in the exact positions that they need to be for each act. The ritual I would probably say a small prayer. I make sure that in a good way. I make sure that I have breathing is good. I do all the exercises like a singer, and because with ventriloquism, you're using your diaphragm, elevating your larynx. You need to still think like an opera singer, but with your mouth shut and lips not moving, hopefully. So I would do all of those silly things. Believe me, even though my lips are shut, I need to do all those things. And, la and la. I would do all of that. And I would get myself all warmed up. And I would say, please give me strength to do a brilliant show. And these people will love me and I'll feel very comfortable up there. There'll be kind little words like that to myself. You can do this, LJ. You can do this. But most of the time, I think I heard a story. If we've got time, I'll tell you this story. There's a friend of mine who knows Tom Jones, and this, and we love Tom Jones as we do in the whole world. He's just awesome. And John Farnham, who is a brilliant artist here in Australia. You might have heard You're the Voice or something like that on Canadian radio. I'm sure he's played over there. He had to do a show with Tom Jones here in Australia, and Tom asked exactly the same question that you asked me. What do you do when you warm up? And John sort of was a little bit nervous, even though he's an absolute standing professional. He was a bit nervous working with Tom Jones, and apparently this was secondhand story, so I'm hoping it's completely true, but it was a good story, and it's all good. It's all good. And John said, "What do you do, Tom? Like, what do you do before you go on stage? Do you have rituals? Do you like anything, And he goes, "Well, what do you do?" And John said, "Oh, I sing, I do all vocal stuff, I gargle water, I pace up and down, I get all energized and all that, and then I walk up on stage." And he said, "Tom, what do you do before you go on stage?" He goes, "I just go to the stage, walk on it, and start singing." I just get up. He didn't do anything, which is brilliant. He was that confident, and he still is today, and he's in his 80s, isn't he? Something like that. So maybe
Yes.
I will be performing at 80. I'd say that the major thing that I would do is just getting, yeah, he would be, getting up and getting on with it. And I teach anxiety coaching for performance in my other world. But I haven't quite got all the credentials yet. But that's something that I plan to study later. And I do it through my own experiences. And it's basically, there was a comedian man here that's passed away, Dave Flanagan. When I was a little girl and a young lady, I got to do a lot of stand-up at the comic sellers or the comedy sellers. And it's now Laugh Lounge, which is a new section here in Adelaide. They've got a new division of places for ventriloquists and comedians and magicians to go and play at. Here in Adelaide, it's now called Laugh Lounge. But there used to be the Comedy Cellars, or Comic Cellars, some people called, but it's Comedy Cellars. And he said, show up, shut up, get up, and be funny. And I really remembered that when I was young. And I know it sounds rough, but it's the only way to learn is to just keep going up. And if you fail, go back up again. And I've failed many a times, but I would just keep going back up, keep going up, keep going up. And you'd get a success, you'd get a fail. And it's not really fail.com. It's just you did something different. You know, it was a different audience, a different vibe. So you just go back up the next night and you just keep doing it until you get it right, until you're comfortable with getting up there all the time. But I can guarantee it with one of my muso mates that I'm working with at the moment, the true feeling is I'm more nervous going to a birthday party, a friend's party, than I am getting on stage. And they say that's a sign of a true performer, but it's also because we're, yeah, that's actually true. And I know half a dozen other artists that have shared that with me. So, yeah.
But I was going to say, it's same with podcasts too. I after each podcast, I download them into audio form too. And I like to listen to them to see what did I do good, what did I did okay, and what I could have done better. And then sometimes there's podcasts where I'm not quite happy with, but you know what? You just got to go to the next one and just try to learn from your previous one and try to improve each podcast, because each podcast is different. It's like your shows too. Every show is a little bit different than the other one. And the way I look at it is I like to just analyze what I did on my podcast and see what I can do to improve for the next show.
But that's good, Chris, because that's learning. And you're also finding your boundaries and finding out what works for you and then what works for the listener as well. It's the only way you're going to learn.
Definitely.
Well done.
I think I'm smarter now than when I was in high school. When I was in school, I did in school I did okay, but I think people should go to school once they're in their 40s or 50s, because I think once you have life experience, you learn more. And I think now if I went back to school, I would do much better. I think I would apply myself more, because when I was younger, I just didn't apply myself as much as I could have.
Yeah. I think a lot of us share that. We share that feeling, a lot of us.
Definitely. Okay, I just got two quick questions, and I'm going to let you go because I don't want to overgo. Okay. No worries. Favorite music you listen to, and do you have any hobbies other than what you're doing?
Okay, country music I love, but I also like heavy rock.
Oh, I'm into classic rock, 70s and 80s music. Even Motown music from the 60s, Detroit
love all that
music.
too. So
yes. Wow. I think we're going to be best friends.
Yeah. Well, I sing with Dave Drummond, and Some Blonde Chick is one of my other my AKA sort of music is Some Blonde Chick. I was named that because people didn't know my name, and as soon as they said it was Some Blonde Chick, I made sure that was the name of my music act. So I sing 50s to the year 2000, so 50s to 90s, and I love all that genre, and I love singing the old songs, you know, and making them new again. So I do that in the covers, but also when I'm writing, the style would be country, probably 70s country. So I sort of write in that style. And in the new team that I have too, we're all loving 60s to the 90s. So yes, I love that genre, but I do like heavy rock, and I will go to a Metallica concert, or was it Pantera or whatever. I would definitely go to heavy rock, but I love everything from classicals right through. And the other question you were saying is a hobby. Yeah. I love exercising. I love, well, singing is a hobby as well. I love riding my bike. I love swimming and boogie boarding. Of course, I need to get a new wetsuit, so I haven't been doing that for a little while because it's cold at the moment here in Adelaide.
Is it
And
winter right now?
also, I would say I love pottering around the garden. Yeah, it's winter here now. Yeah.
Oh, it's summer here.
It's
We're in the
cold
middle of summer.
for us,
Oh,
but we don't get snow, but it's cold. I
oh,
know.
here.
I know.
So I guess our seasons are opposite too. Our seasons, I guess, are opposite too. So
Yeah, they're,
I love snow. I grew up in
so
snow.
I love all those things. Yeah.
Okay, and my last question I was going to ask you, Lindy, because I'm going to let you go. I've probably kept you longer than I should. Sorry.
No, I talk it. I talk it.
No, that's great. I love to talk too. So no,
I've enjoyed it.
Well,
Thank
yeah.
you.
My last question I'm going to ask you: any advice for anyone that's looking to pursue this career that might like watch this on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or any of my audio podcasts? Do you have any advice for anyone that would think
As in-
about getting into this career?
Into your career podcast?
No, into your career, like a ventriloquist, somebody that wants to get into puppeteer ventriloquist.
No, into the venture.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that question in the last 2 years, I've been coaching and ask a lot of the people why ventriloquism when they come to me for coaching. So I would say, yes, study. I mean, I didn't mention Darcy Lynn too, God bless her. She reminds me of me when I was little because I was on TV shows back then. So I did mention her before, and she's been a great influence. I do shows and people say, you're just like Darcy Lynn. It's like, I was before her. It doesn't matter. It's actually beautiful. So I sort of encourage a lot of the young people of today to do that, to actually watch the YouTube clips. I mean, you could learn anything. You could be MacGyver with YouTube. You could make a paper plane out of a paper clip. So the YouTube has everything on it. So all you have to do is do that. Have a look at some people. Taylor Mason. I haven't mentioned Taylor Mason as well. A lovely Christian artist. He's a brilliant ventriloquist. He's a lot of fun. And he has lots of courses online, heaps of courses. So if you want to check him out, be his friend. I'm not sure if they're for pay. You have to pay for them. So to encourage people, of course, they have to get a good figure first, a good doll or a good puppet, or are they going to be a puppeteer? They're going to be a ventriloquist. That's the levers in ventriloquism. I guess it's what they want to be, children's artist, adult artist, cross artist, not mad, but cross artist. Do they want to, do stage shows? Do they want to do pod series? Do they want to do YouTube shows? So there's a lot of stuff out there that will really help them on YouTube. So you are right. There's everything on YouTube.
That's true. Okay, and I'm gonna let you go, Lindy. Before I let you go,
Thank you.
Can you just tell my audience where they can find you on social media again quickly, and on
So,
YouTube, I guess.
Yeah, YouTube is at the moment Lindi Jane 3. I don't know who 1 and 2 is, but I couldn't get just Lindi Jane. I had to get Lindi Jane 3. So
Okay.
just look that up. 3 as in being the numeral. I know it's weird, but it soon will be changed to lindijane.com. That will come out later. As I said, I'm doing an all big marketing strategy, and it's definitely a little bit of funding at the moment that I'm requiring for that. But on Facebook, Lindi Jane, or Snappy Productions, home of SKC TV. And if you need to find, you can find Channel 44 Adelaide. You can look on their program lines, and they're going to have it on demand later. But at the moment, they've just got it online, and it's actually showing to air. So they're the best places to find me on Facebook and on YouTube for now. But soon, my website's no longer working. I actually took that off. So you might find snapskakadooClub.com.au, but it's not actually really working. So yeah, I'm a bit behind the 8 ball in the marketing, but I know that lots of people book me through Facebook and actually converse with me mainly through Facebook. So I had to find a vehicle that was the best. So find me on Facebook. Ask me any questions. I'll be there to help.
Okay, definitely. Anyways, Lindy, I'm going to definitely let you go because I'm going to get some sleep. But I want to say thank you so much for coming on here tonight. I really appreciate it. And I'm hoping maybe again, maybe in the fall, September or October, I can have you and some of your puppets back on as my guest again and maybe talk a little bit more about your career and stuff.
Thank you. Well, let's hope I go a bit further then.
Definitely. Yes. We'll definitely keep in touch on social media and definitely, yeah, I'll have to join your puppet team one day, your CDP puppet.
Thank you. Oh, yes, definitely. We'll think about that one. Don't worry. I will action that for you. But thank you so much for having me on your program. And also from everybody, I'm sure they all, not just my puppets, but everyone in Australia, hello. And yeah, I hope and love you all and just send all our best regards and healthy vibes.
Okay, you too. And hopefully one day I can actually visit Australia. I'll have to tell you, I've never been on an airplane. So hopefully one day I'll be able to come and visit Australia.
You will. You will.
Fingers crossed. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go, but enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to get some sleep, and we'll definitely have you back on again in the future then. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Okay,
bye.
Bye. Anyways, guys, that concludes 30 Minutes Live with CDP today. I want to say thank you to my guest, Lindi Jane, a female ventriloquist from Australia. I really appreciate her coming on today. And like I said, she's one of my favorite guests, and she can check her out and all that online as well. So anyways, guys, yeah, I'm going to call it a night. I'm not sure when my next podcast is. Hopefully this week. I've got more guests lined up, so I will definitely give you guys heads up on social media when my next podcast is. Anyways, guys, I'm going to call it a night. It's 3:12 a.m. here, and I think it's about 5 o'clock p.m. Australian time. So, but I think overall this podcast with Lindy went really well, and this technology is amazing. So, all right, guys. Thank you all again for watching 30 Minutes Live with CDP, live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and later on my audio podcast, Apple and Google, Anchor FM, and Spotify. All right, guys, we're going to talk to you. We'll talk to you next week sometime for the next edition of 30 Minutes Live with CDP podcast. Thank you all for watching. Have a good